Hey guys, it's the Metal Blade 5, and there's been something that's been bugging me for a really long time, where, just to cut to the chase here, it's the fact that in a couple of my response videos, I get comments from jerks who effectively say that my arguments are wrong or invalid because that's just what you think. And this really annoys me because despite the fact that I have constantly made this clear in the past, this message doesn't appear to get through to some people. Although, sometimes I don't even know why I bother due to the existence of a certain toxic, hypocritical, damage-controlling, and manipulative group of downright bastards and their fans, or I guess viewers, since apparently calling someone who regularly watches a person's content a fan is such a crime, who act like they're better than everyone else and twist other people's words to make them look like the kind of people that they really are. At the end of the day, everything that I say in my response videos is just my opinion with the reasons to back up why I feel that way. I mean, during the ages of washing machine mic quality, I was much more of a prick and made them to prove them wrong, but I quickly matured from that phase and thus just make responses to express my personal disagreements with a video or subject. Since then, they have never been about me treating my opinions as fact or superior to others, and they are definitely not meant to be objective. Unlike the previously mentioned group who I do see treat their opinions as fact, and I don't mean that as in they refer to their opinion in an objective manner like a review, I mean they straight up consider their opinion fact. Even if that opinion is incredibly unpopular, and then everybody just believes them, and never questions it. That's why I title them as responses, because response refers to someone's personal reaction to something. Which is why I get really annoyed when people refer to them as commentaries, which attempt to be objective, but are extremely biased and manipulative. Well, to me at least. This is also the reason why I'm not afraid to make responses where I go against popular opinion, such as my response to Android 18 versus Captain Marvel, where most people agreed with the result but didn't like how 18 was portrayed, while I actually disagreed with the result and hated how both characters were presented. I would rather be completely honest and true to how I feel about the respective subject and get a ton of dislikes for that, than to just jump on the bandwagon and get a lot of likes. It's also why I use words such as personally a lot, due to a combination of my sincere nature and wanting to make sure that people don't take my views the wrong way, not to damage control. And that takes me over to another issue that really bugs me, which still links to the point of this video, being that, as part of my videos being subjective, is that, again, in my response to Android 18 versus Captain Marvel, when I mentioned how, to me, it felt like Death Battle handled the fight in a way just so that another Dragon Ball character would win, to stop some fans from complaining about that, I straight up stated that it was just the impression that I got from the video. This is because when making response videos, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt unless I have a reason to suggest otherwise. Which is why it really pisses me off when I see people who automatically assume that someone says or does something with negative intentions, despite having absolutely no proof. For example, in Game Theory, when MatPat did the whole section at the beginning of the Gaster Theory in which he addressed the hate that his previous Undertale videos got, one thing that I've seen people accuse MatPat of doing during that part was attempting to emotionally manipulate his audience because he plays emotional music in the background. However, it appears that these people are unaware of the fact that music can also be used to reflect the mood of a moment, and that's what I see here as MatPat expresses that the hate on the Undertale videos was a huge downer for him because he was really excited to talk about Undertale. The people who accuse MatPat of being emotionally manipulative have no proof that that was the reason why he chose the music he did, and thus it creates this unfair negative image of him. Plus, I don't see MatPat as the kind of person who would do that sort of thing, so I give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, have these people ever heard of Occam's razor? Some of these people don't even know the basic differences between American and British English, which just shows how close-minded they are. You won't believe how many assholes have either outright or effectively called me stupid for supposedly misspelling or mispronouncing words, when that's how they are in British English. Legendaries! Sorry, I just really need to get that off my chest. Now, going off topic again here, just because I couldn't find an excuse to fit this in elsewhere, and because there's something else I really wanted to talk about, is that when it comes to my response videos, I only cover videos that I strongly disagree with. As in, if there's either a number of things that I seriously disagree with throughout the video, or more in the case of death battle results, something that I strongly disagree with that affects my entire view of the video. Both leading to me having a lot to say as a result of built-up emotions. If there's something in a video that I disagree with, but is only a minor thing, such as a name slip-up, or if it's only a small part of the entire video and thus doesn't bother me much, then they play no role in me deciding on whether I should make a response to it or not. They're things that I'll bring up in a response, but they aren't what led me into making it in the first place. For instance, Digibro, who, if you've never heard of him, is an anime channel, made a series of videos on how to recognize a great and terrible anime from just the first episode, in which he states that he's never experienced, and thus doesn't believe, that an anime can start off bad and get good later, with one exception. I seriously disagree with this belief, but it's only a small statement made in videos that range from around 20 minutes to half an hour long. The vast majority of these videos are spent examining things such as premise, cinematography, and character introductions, which I can't really argue against, seeing as how I lack the finesse of examining media due to the fact that I'll pretty much just like any movie that has cool action in it. Additionally, I feel that it's unfair to judge a series' entire quality off of just the first episode. But again, most of the videos focus on the examinations I mentioned earlier, so I don't think it's worth making an entire response to two tiny parts, which probably account for like 1% of the whole thing. Which is why I get really frustrated when I see the existence of one-shot videos, which only argue against one small point in a much longer video, since it's so unnecessary and just desperate for attention. Before making my response to the Tracer vs. Scout death battle, back when I only disagreed with what they said about Scout's rocket feat, I just left a comment expressing that. But when I started to have gripes with the rest of the conclusion, that's what led me to actually making a video about it. Meanwhile, leaving a comment on the video doesn't appear to come across some other people's minds. And I know people are going to call me a hypocrite for this, seeing as how I made a response video just to a bunch of comments on a video, but even I think that was stupid. Lastly, and again, this is going off topic, but it's something else to do with opinions that bother me, being that I have seen plenty of cases in which bias affects people's judgment of something. Now, I'm not trying to compare watching YouTube videos to the law, but in court, they use the term justice is blind to show how nobody, regardless of their status, wealth, etc., should be excluded from being punished if they commit a crime, and I feel that a similar attitude needs to be done when it comes to watching any sort of video. This is because I've seen a lot of times where someone who is well-liked has viewers who automatically label all criticism directed towards them as invalid, sometimes through dumb excuses, but doesn't when someone does the exact same thing, but to someone who is hated. And likewise, I see people who are disliked have all of their arguments get treated like they're wrong just because they are hated, and sometimes over things that have nothing to do with the video they are being hated on. As an example, on Velicify's top 10 most disappointing Pokemon in Sun and Moon video, the like-dislike ratio is almost 50-50. But even though I disagree with that video and even made a response to it, I don't think it deserves that many dislikes. And I feel that a portion of those dislikes are only there because it's Velicify, and due to all the drama revolving around him, rather than because of what he says in that specific video. I'm confident that if someone else made that exact same video and said the exact same things, then they wouldn't get anywhere near as many dislikes. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not defending Velicify over the things that he gets hate for, but I don't think that this video is anywhere near as bad as those and has nothing to do with them, so why should it get hate for something that happened in a completely different video? As for close-minded fans, or at least viewers, who believe that a YouTuber can do nothing wrong and thus treats all criticism towards them as invalid for no good reason, an example of that would be Death Battle fans who believe that all the information and conclusions are correct, which I know exists because I was, admittedly, part of that group at one point. Besides, just going back round full circle so I can end off this video while actually being on topic, the whole, well, that's what you think argument is honestly really stupid in my opinion, because it suggests that that person's opinion is invalid and isn't of any worth, which is bullshit. Plus, I would much prefer it for anybody who comes across my response videos to form their own opinion on the matter, rather than just always agreeing with everything I say. Anyway, sorry for wasting your time with this pointless crap, but I just see a lot of jerks who don't appear to get how my response videos work, so I wanted to express what really goes down behind the scenes. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of dislikes for this, but again, I said earlier, I'd rather be honest than get tons of dislikes for this.